how to measure for the step, the stride, the straddle, and the angle of the gait, which is also called the pitch. Alright, so we're going to get that. I'm going to go through all this with you. Okay, so we're doing scientific measurements here. So all this, starting with the foot, you want to measure the foot itself, the length of the foot, from the heel to the toe. And then you want to measure the foot at its widest part, which is usually up here around the what I consider like the ball area of the foot. You want to measure the width. So the foot length and width is your first measurement. Okay, so I made some illustrations here to show. Alright, so you want to measure for the step. You're measuring from one heel to the next heel. And from one heel to the next heel. So it doesn't matter which foot. You can measure from the right heel to the left heel, or from the left heel to the right heel. Either way. But you're measuring the step. Just from one heel to the next. So that's the step. From the left heel to the right heel, or from the right heel to the left heel. Okay, and then measuring the stride is going to be either from the left heel to the next left heel, or is either going to be from the right heel to the next right heel. That's going to be the stride. So this is easy to get confused. A lot of people say, what was the stride? And they're thinking from one heel to the next heel. But that's actually the step. The stride you want to measure from the same heel to the same heel. Like the left or the right, same heel to same heel. The straddle, what you're measuring is from the edge of the left foot to the edge of the right foot. How far apart they are. So for your straddle, you're measuring from the edge of one foot over to the edge of the other. So if you run your tape measure out, line them up, and then you take your another tape measure and measure that distance between the edge of that foot and the edge of this one. So that measurement's going to be your straddle. You're measuring from one line of the left foot to your line of the right foot. That's your straddle. Okay, so to get the angle of the gait, or the pitch, which would be the pitch of the foot, I'm going to show you two different ways. Okay, so I've got the compass lined up. You can see my arrow. I'm not going by the needle, I'm going by the arrow. I've got it lined up with the north and with my arrow up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my center right here on our line of our heel. I've got a line going through the heel to the next heel, and then a line going through the center of the foot here. All right, so we're going to put our compass center right here on our line on the heel, and I've got it lined up. I've got it lined up here with our line. So what I'm going to do is turn it to line up with our line going straight through the foot. So you're going to line it up straight with the foot like that, with your center point right here on our lines at the heel. And this is going to give you the degrees right here at the toes. Okay, so what we're doing here, like with this, I'm having to come backwards. So there's 340, so we're probably a little over 345. So it's looking like you can see where the 350 is. So this is probably about a 12 degrees because you got 10 right there. This is about a 12-degree pitch. So we got a 12-degree pitch here on this. Or you can use a tape measure. Or you can use a tape measure and measure it right there at the toes and get your inches, however many inches it would end up being, to get your pitch of the foot or the angle of the gait. So this right here would be however many inches. So you're measuring right there at the toes from your intersecting lines here for the foot, going straight through the heels, and your line here going straight through the middle of the foot. So with the compass you can get your degrees, or you can use a tape measure and get your inches, and that'll give you your angle of gait or your pitch of the foot. So here's each one: the foot length and width, the step, the stride, the straddle, and so you can see here by this illustration, you can see the step, the stride, the straddle, the pitch, like I just illustrated, and the length and the width of the foot itself. And here again we have the length of the track, the width of the track, the stride, the straddle, the pitch. So this also has a I like this part right here, classification of the tracks. A clear print is you can see it real clearly, like in the mud. And then you have the pattern classification, which is when it's not really clear, when it's like hard ground, leafy ground, stuff like that, where you can't make out the toes really good, but you can see the good shape of it and the size. That's considered a pattern classification versus a clear print. Clear prints are really hard to find. As you can see here, 5% of prints are going to be clear. 95% are going to be a pattern that you can find. That's not too bad. You can see my footprint's pretty good there. Okay, so one thing you want to do, the first thing you want to do is measure the total footprint. So I'm measuring from the tip of the foot to the heel. So my boot said like 12 1/4 inches. And then you want to measure the widest part of the foot, which is usually up here towards the heel. So I've got 4 1/2. So I'm at 12 1/4 and 4 1/2. So that's your width and that's your length and your width of your foot. Okay, so then next you want to measure from one heel to the next. So that's from right here, that heel to this heel. So I've got 25 inches. So I've got a 25-inch step. So what I'll do is I'll come over here and I'll measure from heel to heel. Okay, so I've got 25 inches, so it's staying consistent. And then from heel to heel, I'm staying consistent, 25 inches. Alright, so that's the measuring the foot itself, then measuring the step, Now we're going to measure the stride. The stride is from the left heel to the left heel, or the right heel to the right heel. Okay, so I've got a 49-inch stride. Okay, that's left heel to left heel, right heel to right heel. I've got a 49-inch stride. Okay, so that's the stride. Okay, and then we're going to measure the straddle. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put that at the edge of my foot. So that's at the edge of my footprints. About right there. Alright, that's pretty close. So then I'm going to measure about the same thing here. So I've got a 4 1/4 inch stride, or straddle, straddle. So let's see if it stays pretty consistent. Okay, I measured that on the wrong side. Okay, so I've got a 5 1/2 inch straddle. First one on the wrong side of that measure. Yeah, so about 5 1/2 inch straddle. Okay, and then we're going to measure the pitch. Okay, the pitch, I'm going through that foot, right through the middle of that foot from the heel. And then from that center of that heel, and centered it up on that foot down there, on that heel. So I've got a 3 1/4, about a 3 1/4 inch pitch, or gait, angle of gait. And also with that you can use the, again you can use the compass. Okay, so lining the compass up like I did on the paper. So then when I turn it, I'm keeping about the center of my compass, and then following my arrows. So I've got about a 10 degrees. I've got a 10-degree pitch, or 10-degree angle of gait. Alright, so I wanted to show you how that worked in the field, how to do that. So now I want to show you one more thing, and I'll show you the picture of this too. But in this picture, you can see one's foot right here. Okay, and how they walk straight in line. But what they do is they swing their foot around. And this one, the foot's like back here. So see, here's that foot. They swing their foot around over here. And then this foot here come around and swing over here. I'm just going to try to make them deeper so you can see them good. Alright, so here's this photo I was talking about. And these are the 6-inch footprints. So you can see the right foot, then the left foot, and the right foot. So you can see how far over the left foot swings over, where it's not even in line. So you can see with my line I drew on the edge of the right foot. So with the person, this foot would be over here. So with the Bigfoot, normally you would have somewhere around here. But I think because of the way they swing their feet over, he came over further than being in line. So as you can see, this is similar to that picture. Where you can see this is the edge of my right foot, which would match up with the edge of his right foot. And then his left foot is not over here. His left foot's not over here where humans would be. And it's not straight in line either. His is like a minus pitch. Not a minus pitch, but a minus straddle. His is a minus straddle. Where if you measured his straddle, I'm just using this as an example, but I've got about 5 inches there. So his would be like a 5-inch minus straddle instead of a 5-inch straddle or a 1-inch straddle or 1 degree. So I'm going to show this to you also. Alright, so that's my field. What I wanted to show you as far as doing this in the field. Alright, thank you babe for filming.